Watching this is the final assignment that you're gonna have to do. I was trying to do a video earlier, but I was just screwing up a lot. So and it took way too long to explain very simple concepts. So we're gonna be working with square roots again, but now we're gonna be working with variables. What are variables? Variables are letters. You're gonna have letters that you're gonna have to worry about. It's either X, it's either Y, or Z, or M. It doesn't matter, and whatever. It can be whatever letter you want. And you're usually going to see an exponent. What's an exponent? We're going to be working with exponents today. Exponents. Basically, an exponent is going to be, I'm going to have X, and it's going to be a number that's right on top of X. Is usually represented by a smaller number. So, we're going to have to work with those. But aside from that, we're going to be doing the same thing that we did last time. So, I'm going to do a problem real quick. It's going to be 12. It's going to be X to the 5th, Y to the, let's do 4, okay? That's going to be the problem I'm going to give you guys. This is the example, and this is what you're going to have to do. First step, simplify the number. I usually like to simplify the number because it makes everything, I don't know, I'm going to be honest, you can work it whatever way. But I want to start with the 12. Then I'm going to move with the X, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the Y. I'm going to do them all separately because if I try to do them all at once, I might get confused, and I get confused quite easily, and sometimes I mix up my numbers pretty fast. So instead of doing that, I'm going to work one at a time. So I'm going to work with 12, right? So what am I going to have to do? We're going to be doing the same thing that we did before. We're going to have to find the factors of 12. So I know 12 can be divided into 2 and 6, right? Again, I already used 12. I'm going to underline 12 because I'm no longer going to be able to use that number because I already found the factors. I don't need it. Now, I want you to always underline or always highlight your prime numbers. Is 2 a prime number? Is 2 a prime number? Yes, it is. So now we're actually going to go ahead and simplify the 6. 6 is not a prime number, so I can find 2 different factors. So it's going to be 2 and 3. And at this point, guess what? We already finished doing our tree factors or factoring tree. I forgot how I called it before. But yes, we already finished finding all the factors out of 12. At this point, I'm just going to find the groupings. So I can see, same thing that you guys did yesterday, I'm going to notice that I have one grouping of 2. So I'm going to put a line and I'm going to put 2. That means I'm only going to be able to take one of the 2s out. So my answer so far is going to be this. 2 square root of what's going to be left inside. If you notice, the 3 doesn't have a pair, so it's going to be left inside the radical. So if you don't find any pairs for whatever's inside, it's going to have to stay inside, period. There's nothing else that you can do with that. You're just going to leave it inside. We haven't done anything with the X or the Y. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to be working with the X. And instead of being a 3, that's supposed to be a 5. Let me rewrite this. This is a 5, not a 3. Okay, now we have X to the 5th power. Now, there's a couple things that you can do this, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can do this. And the reason why I'm showing this 2 different methods is because sometimes it's going to be very difficult to do the one method. So the first method, you can do this. And I'm already going to tell you. Whenever you have X to the 3rd power, let's just say that, what that means is that you're going to have X times X times X. A lot of people were having that issue last year. They did not understand that whenever you have an exponent, that means that the number below your exponent is going to repeat. All right? So the exponent is going to tell you how many times it's going to repeat. So in this time, what I'm circling here, I have a 3, meaning that the X is going to repeat 3 times. And that's it. So that's one of the ways that you can do this. And if you're having trouble just visualizing it, you can do it this way. It's very easy. So it's going to be X, 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 X. That's 5, right? And then I'm going to have Y to the 4th. Like I said, I'm only going to work every section individually. So I'm going to work the numbers first. then one of the letters, then the other letter. So there. Now, do I have any groupings of 2? And it's very easy to see it this way. You're going to notice I'm going to have one group here and one group over here. X and X. You're going to notice that I'm going to have one of the X's by itself. So you know what that means? It's going to stay inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be taking 2 X's out. So I can either, I'm going to write it and then I'm going to show you how to simplify it. Right, one of the X's left inside and we haven't done anything with the Y. Now I'm going to rewrite this again because I don't want to have X and X. I'm going to just call it X squared. Okay, so X squared. Then, oh my god, it got big. There we go. Then 3X and Y to the 4th power. And you're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to rewrite the whole thing. I know it's a lot of rewriting, but I usually like to show the whole method just so people get used to it, you know? Because that way, whenever I'm grading, usually, this is whenever I'm grading, I can go back and look at your work. And it helps me out a lot, and I can actually give you feedback and be like, oh, you see here? That's where you did your mistake. If you don't show any work, then first of all, you're not going to get full credit. You're probably going to get only a 50, sometimes even lower. And you're not really, I don't think you'll be ready for tests or anything like that. So make sure you always show your work. Again, I separate the Y's so I know I have 2 groupings. And if you notice right here, do I have anything left over for the Y? The answer, obviously, is no. So what are we going to do? It's the same thing. It's going to be X squared Y times Y equals 3X. Gonna finally simplify the thing. I know it's a lot of rewriting, but this is how you do this. And that's my final answer here. Okay? That's the entire process that I went through with that method. Alright? You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a quicker, faster way. Okay? And I'm going to show you a little t-table right here. And I'm going to put 2. 1 times 2 equals 2, right? Then 2 times 2 equals 4. Then 2 times 3 equals 6. Then 4 times 2 equals 8. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to show you what I'm doing that. So there's another way that you can do this problem. So I'm going to rewrite as far as we have right here. We have x to the 5th. And, okay, I forgot the 3. Let me put the 3 first. Then we have x to the 5th. And then we have y to the 4th. We're almost done. I mean, at this point, you can already start the assignment. I think you should be able to deal with the other. I just want to show you a different way that you can do this. Look at the exponents, okay? The first exponent is going to be 5. The second exponent is going to be 8, 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to think of multiples of 2. Why am I doing that? It's because whenever you're working with square roots, we're always looking for groupings of 2. So how many groups of 2 do I have in 5? If I look at my table over here, I'm going to highlight it over here. If I look at my table over here, you're going to notice real quick that I can have 2 groups of 2 in 5. Why am I saying that? It's because if I get another group of 2, I'm going to go all the way to 6, which is higher than 5. Okay, we can't do that. We have to stay below 5. So I know I can fit 2. Okay, so I am back. Sorry, I don't know if it stopped or anything. So, where was I? Here we are. You notice that if I have 3 groups of 2, it's going to give me 6. So I can't have that. So I can only have 2 groups of 2. I know it's very confusing and I know I'm not writing anything. But I know that I can have 2 groups of 2, which is going to leave 1 remaining. Okay? So I can do this. I know I'm going to have x for one group, x for another group, right? And then I'm going to write remainder 1x. I'm just writing this just so you guys can see. Gonna maximize this so everybody can see. I'm saying that I have two groups of, and I have one remainder x. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for y. How many groups of 2 can I fit into 4? This is just you knowing your multiplication tables and be able to figure out, okay, how many 2's can I fit in there? Well, I have a circle, so I know 2 groups can fit into 4. So I'm gonna have 2 y's outside, and I'm gonna have no remainders. Again, same thing, same concept, so we end up with the same answer. That cancels out. That cancels out because it comes out, and we have one remainder x on the inside. So I'm gonna have 3x. If you can understand the second version, it's gonna help you a lot to do bigger problems. And I'm gonna show you real quick. I'm gonna do a random problem just so you guys can see, and I'm gonna pick an incredibly big giant number. X to the 55 power. I'm gonna have to find the square root of it. If you do the first method, you would have to do 55 of this ones. Then you would have to find groups, which would take you forever. Now, if we just divide, or if we can figure out how many 2's fit into 55, then it's going to make it a lot easier. So let's think of equals, right? So what's a number, because this one's odd, right? This is an odd number. What even number can I use to figure out how many 2's can fit? Well, I'm going to be thinking about 54. So 54 divided by 2, I don't really know what that is. So I know it's going to be something like 2. Oh my god, my brain. How many is that? 25, so that'll be 25. Oh my god, 2 more. 27? Right? Should be 27. I should be able to do 27 pairs. Correct? I should be able to do 27 pairs if I divide, let me word myself. 27 pairs can fit into 54. How many am I going to have remaining? 1. And that's all you got to do. So I know I'm going to have 27 pairs, and remainder, I'm going to have 1. So I'm going to write my answer. It's going to be square root. Gonna have x to the 27th power, and that's my answer for that. Square root of x, and that will be your answer. You don't have to do a lot of work. All you have to understand is that, okay, the exponent number that I'm given, how many groups of 2 can I fit into that? And because we're only working right now with square roots, that's all you have to think about. Once we start working with cube roots, quadratic roots, and even higher, then you're going to have to focus on groups of 3, groups of 4, groups of 5, groups of 6. It depends on what kind of radical they give you. But in this case, because we are given a square root, the only thing that we have to worry is finding groups of 2. And it works every time. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's do 33. Oh, that's not what I meant to write. This is the final thing because I want you guys just to work on your stuff. This is just extra stuff, just so you can. You don't even have to watch this stuff. I'm just gonna re-show you. All right. So 33. How many 2's can I fit into 30? 33. And if I'm thinking about it, I believe I can fit 16. Right? Because 16 times 2 gives me 32. If I do 17 times 2, it's gonna equal, 34, I believe. Yes. So this one goes above, and we can't use that one. That one's just below, and it works perfectly. How many remainders are we gonna have again? 1. So we're gonna have 16 that can go out. Remainders, 1. And I want you guys to kind of write it out. You don't have to write exactly like I do, but just as long as you understand what's going on, right? If you can show me this, and you do 32 minus 33, I can understand what you're doing. Okay? Because you're going to have one remaining, but also you have to understand that you're going to have to group them. Right? So 16, so I'm going to put 16 outside. So it's going to be x to the 16 power square root of x to the 1 power. Yeah, you just leave it like that. And that's it. That is if you have really big numbers. If you have small numbers, you can do it like the first method that we did right here. That works perfectly because you can visually see how many groupings you can do. But it becomes an issue whenever your exponents become very large. In which case, you're going to have to understand the second way to do it. How many groupings can it fit into this number? And that's it. That's all you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about anything else. I'm going to be deleting this later because you don't need the notes. Well, I mean, actually, I'm going to leave everything there just so you guys can see. But if you watch the whole thing, hopefully this helps. Hopefully I'm back on Monday. I'm still doing jury duty. This might take a little longer. Who knows? But I wish they didn't call me, but you know, it is what it is. So that's it. Just make sure you finish everything, turn everything in. And as long as I can see that you're doing the work, it's going to be automatic 100 for almost everybody. But if you don't submit everything or you don't submit your work, then obviously your grade is going to show that. So have a good day, guys.